Think we'd have better luck finding a genie with a corner than Santa's bag. Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the October 1st, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. Or check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's KistlerLawFirm.com. One word, Kistler Law. They've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. All right, we're here. It is, it's Wednesday. We got a game manana, and the Rams report looks pretty good. We'll just dive right into that and get everything going. We talked about a lot of stuff yesterday, and we'll keep it pressing on today. And then, of course, the game's tomorrow, and we'll see what the rest of Week 5 plays out. I do enjoy a Rams victory on Thursday because it makes Sundays that much more enjoyable. All right, short week. Havenstein and Higbee are listed as doubtful, which means I'm doubting they're going to play. I think that's a real long shot. And so Higbee, to me right now, Higbee looks old. Higbee looks like a guy who has some serviceability for the next, 14 weeks, and then he rides off into the sunset. I just don't see it going much further with Higbee. Ferguson needs an opportunity, and Parkins appears healthy. So I don't think there's a serious loss here because it's not like Higbee's performing at 2019, 2020 levels. So there's no serious issue, and it's an opportunity to find out about Ferguson, right? Again, if he can't block, we'll have to take it when it comes. With the 49ers pass rush struggling and no Nick Bosa, I think this might be a good week to give Havenstein the day off. He didn't miss a snap on Sunday, so the ankle's sore but not catastrophic. And now this would give him 2 full weeks before the team goes to Baltimore and then after that to London. So, if the Rams can get away with this, because they're playing against a team that doesn't have a Nick Bosa, they don't have a strong pass rush right now, then this is a win. This is a win if Havenstein needs, the 11-year veteran needs that extra week off, give him 2 weeks off. That puts the Rams in good shape. And I think it's an opportunity for Warren McClendon, right? McVay has spoken well of him, and frankly, it's time to see. It's time to see if he plays if he stays with the team longer than his rookie contract, right? We know McClendon cannot play left tackle. We know that, right? But wouldn't it be marvelous if he played well filling in for Havenstein? And that's where his best bet to make it in the league is at right tackle. So now the Rams have an opportunity to see what they have in McClendon regarding next year being his contract year. Can they extend him? Will they bring him back? And if they find out he can play and have full confidence in him, then, Havenstein rides off into the sunset after this season since he's no longer under contract and will be finishing his 11th year. If it's not McClendon, then DJ Humphries could possibly swing over there and has done it before. And then, of course, there's David Quisenberry, who is experienced and is still on the roster. And again, you're not going against a team that is really bringing heavy heat right now. So if it had to happen, this is the time it had to happen. All right, speaking of looking at Bill's request there for a center and a cornerback, I'm not going to argue that the Rams should be in the market for another corner. I'm not going to go against that at all, but I will not accept the premise of the lazy KBM that this experiment with Forbes is over. I think they only decided it was over because of the optics of the Adonai Mitchell touchdown catch and subsequent touchdown drop or fumble. They needed a scapegoat. Forbes wasn't beat on that play. Forbes was right there. It was a great catch by Adonai Mitchell, okay? And he is not some huge liability. He's not Trey White. But since Tutu Atwell's game-winning touchdown, The underclued, ignorant, and clickbaits of the media, they need a new villain. So we have to move on from Tutu now, at least for a week, and put Forbes on the front burner because he's the low-hanging fruit, right? He's the easy one. And I'm not just saying this because I've been defending Forbes, but the truth is that if you watch what's happened, the Cam Ward touchdown was a fluke, right? Yeah, Michael Pittman beat Forbes this last Sunday on that crosser in the end zone. But the Adonai Mitchell play, please, heaven help me, right? Come on, right? Absolutely ridiculous, right? And if you're going off PFF grades, I think PFF is actually rating Justin Fields higher than Aaron Rodgers these days. So let's chill out a little bit on that. But again, we have to have clickbait. We have to have something to whine and moan about, something to get us to click on. The one thing I will agree with, though, is that, given that a Witherspoon is out for a while, bring in somebody else. And I'll give Jason McIntyre on the Herd 2 weeks ago. He mentioned after the Philly game, he mentioned L'Jarius Sneed, and now others have picked up on it. And the subsequent exchange rate, they say, with Tennessee would be a third rounder. And if it's a third rounder for L'Jarius Sneed to take a flyer on him, then, and I guess there's an out in the contract after this year, then I'd do that. And I like Forbes, but I like winning better. But I just think it's ridiculous to put this all on Forbes, right? As if there's something to put on Forbes. Anyway, I digress. Let's see what's here. Bill, Steeler fan Rob, Brian Smith, Micah Gutierrez. Bill, Puka retires Xavier Howard, add to his MVP season. Man, it's almost like you read it. It says, Puka Nacua and the Rams forced Xavier Howard into retirement. Guy started 4 games, and he just said, I don't want any more. I don't want any more. That's awesome. Let's see. Steeler. Oh, no, this is ESG. All right, ESG, thanks for joining us. I think after A.J. Brown played the Rams, he saw a quarterback in Stafford who would get him the ball and make him a Hall of Fame, unlike Hurts. There's stuff there. That stuff's getting ready to boil over, and who knows? I think Denver could be the team that pops the balloon there, because right now they also got issues with Lane Johnson's health and Jalen Carter's health. I think there might be opportunity. Whatever it is, this ship's going to go down. I really think this ship is going to go down. Bill, I want to see Hunter and Ferguson tomorrow. I want to see Hunter if it's a blowout by the fourth quarter. Great. I don't know if we need to see him, but Ferguson, definitely. I want to see Ferguson tomorrow. We need to see Ferguson tomorrow. There we go. Steeler fan Rob, you need to stop listening to Colin and your brother J-Mac. Laugh out loud. Mets. Oh, wait, Mets are not in it. Well, what does this mean? Dude, you beat the Vikings. You beat the Vikings, who everybody is wrong about. You beat the Vikings. You needed a 60-yard field goal to beat the Jets. And now you're in the weakest division in the AFC. Just relax, be grateful, because I'm sure TJ Watt in the next 2 weeks is going to get a sore pec and sit for 4. All right? So chill out, Steeler fan Rob. Win a playoff game and come in talking trash. And I'm a Met fan. I'm still a Met fan. At least I'm not going to go through the heartbreak of what the Dodger fans are going to go through this year. Bill, do you think Quisenberry is a better option to start at right tackle tomorrow? I want to see McClendon. I think we've seen McClendon in brief sips play well in that spot. And, the Rams have kept him around. This is his 3rd year. And now you're going to find out, you're going to find out if he's developed. And again, McClendon's name was coming off of Sean McVay's lips during the summer. And so they like what they've seen. And so let's keep an eye on it and let's give him a shot. The upside with McClendon is unknown. You kind of know what you're getting in Quisenberry, but it's nice to know that if McClendon goes full, Pittsburgh in the playoffs, if he just is a complete whiff, then you can go to a Humphreys or a Quisenberry. So the Rams got some insurance there. We're not talking about Zach Thomas anymore, right? And I don't think we're talking AJ Akuri. So we're in good shape there. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Brian Smith, Rams 20-17 tomorrow. Do you subscribe like I do that On paper, it probably should be a blowout, but because it's divisional, it's going to be a little more brutal and head knocking type stuff. I have the Rams 17-13. So I think we're kind of in the same boat there, Mr. Smith. Micah Gutierrez, the Winers backups will play like they have nothing to lose no matter how many of their guys are out. Anything can happen in a rivalry game. Good call, Micah. Absolutely. And Kyle Shanahan works wonders with backup quarterbacks against the Rams. So there's something to keep in mind. Micah, this will be a big prove-it game for our run defense since Frisco will likely spam McCaffrey until he doesn't work. That's interesting to think. I heard in a couple places, and I thought there was some wisdom to it, that maybe Shanahan pulls back a little bit and doesn't do exactly that, right? Because they have to live to fight another day. That if this game looks like it's 21-3 Rams going into the second half, then McCaffrey and Trent Williams aren't playing because they just need to save them for a better day and not burn them out in a comeback that might not work, that likely wouldn't work. So yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting is the young guys. Jawan Jennings is out. Ricky Pearsall is out. All the young guys that the 49ers were counting on to help the old guys are out, and McCaffrey and Trent Williams are still dragging themselves out there, at least for now. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to pound McCaffrey. I'm not sure. Brian Smith, sadly, it's not going to be the blowout we'd all like to see. Amen, right? Amen. Because the Rams just can't make things nice, right? You can't have nice things if a Ram fan. You got to be on pins and needles for 18 weeks. Steve Ramirez, I'll go third for L'Jarius Sneed. I wanted the Rams to get him before he went to the Titans. But that was after his big year, though, Steve. Remember, he was getting the big moo. And so he was going to get that payday, and now might be the time with that payday kind of spent a little bit that the Rams can bring him in. A third? I'm all over a third. All over a third. I'm good with that. I'm right there with you on that, Steve. Tribe. Joe, big Habs is doubtful. Does that McLean McClendon at right tackle? Yeah, I think it does, and I think it should. And I think, McClendon can spot the Rams this week, and then Havenstein gets 2 full weeks before going to Baltimore. I also heard in Baltimore, not only of all the other injuries, but Matabuke is now gone for the season along their front. Paul M., go Rams. There we go. ESG, the 49ers last game, McCaffrey was mostly catching more than running. He's averaging 3.3 a carry right now. 3.3. Brendel is a little bit better at center than Coleman Shelton. Puny was banged up during Dominic Puny, their right guard, was banged up. He's talented. Colton McKivitz is playing well, and they're struggling at left guard. They've got stuff there, man. They've got stuff there, and McCaffrey's not finding any holes. I would find it hard to believe that the Rams could contain Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor for 8 quarters and then get torched by Christian McCaffrey with an inferior offensive line, an offensive line that's inferior to Indy and Philly. So I could see them trying to get McCaffrey out into space. Steve Ramirez, 49ers O-line is awful. They can't run the ball at all. Amen. There you go. I didn't even see your post there, Steve, but it's true. All right, keep moving on here. Welcome to the Fog City Nightmare. Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Ben Barch already out. Tomorrow night, Brock Purdy, Jawan Jennings, and Ricky Pearsall are all out. Demarcus Robinson is probably going to become a feature receiver for the 49ers tomorrow. And this is the one game where if the Rams secondary does play well, what if Forbes, Durant, Darius Williams, somebody gets a pick 6, they're going to say, well, they were playing against backups. They didn't play against Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, or Brandon Ayuk. So it's going to be a no-win situation. The win for me would be 45-0, right? I'd love a game where I could watch the Rams play that I do not have to wonder if I'm going to break something, pace around. I got a 20-by-20 office here, and I pace around and get all uptight. And sometimes my friends come over and they bring these mini cupcakes, which in a blowout game, I never touch. When another team is playing, I never touch. When I'm waiting for a final drive or we're down by 10 points at the start of the fourth quarter, man, I'm pounding those mini cupcakes, right? Picked a bad week to stop eating mini cupcakes. All right. Real simple this game is. 49ers cannot win this game in any way. There is no way the 49ers can win this game, but the Rams can lose it, right? We know this as Ram fans, right? They don't always just completely spit the bit, but there is the occasional brain freeze game, and then there's just those moments where they don't play at their level, they play at their opponent's level. And so I don't think there's a prayer the 49ers can win this on their own. If they do win it, everyone's going to reflect back on what the Rams did to lose it. So Rams have not played a complete game this year. We'll whitewash the week 1 win over the Texans. Great second half against the Titans. Great first half against Philly. And then it took a little bit with Matthew Stafford. Without Matthew Stafford, maybe we don't win against the Colts. So yeah, it's a time for the Rams to put together a full game. Absolutely. With that being said, Avila is practicing full at left guard and expected to be in the lineup. And the Rams just need to pound. That's they can't stop the run in Fog City. So pound. Offensively, my concern is Havenstein being out. And it's not him being out physically as much as spiritually. He's the glue guy on that offensive line. If you notice that, when he's not in there, things are out of sync. And that's where I think we're going to miss Havenstein the most, right? He's the experienced veteran. He's the godfather. He basically ascended to that role with the retirement of Andrew Whitworth. So that's why I worry that there could be some hiccups on this line. You tie that with it being a divisional game, it still makes me think Rams 17, 49ers 13. I hope it's 52-0, right? I really, really do. All right, let's keep trucking along here. Bill, I don't understand how the Rams could overlook center in last year's draft and free agency. Those kind of things do stand out, Bill, right? They do. It's for a team that seems to nail things. They knew when to move off Cooper Kupp, right? They knew when to move off Jalen Ramsey. They moved off Bobby Wagner after a great year. They know when to move off, but every once in a while there's a hole in the game somewhere, right? I think they got away with murder in 2021 with Troy Reeder and Ernest Jones at the linebacker spots and won a Super Bowl. I think they've improved that with Spates and Landman. That's great. But yeah, there are those times there's like, bro, what are you seeing that we're not seeing? And they have a thing for Coleman Shelton, right? And I like Coleman Shelton in small sips. Coleman Shelton could be the amaz bouche. Is that how you pronounce the one bite appetizer? Let him come in for one game. All right, Coleman did a good job. Now get your butt back to the bench, right? But yeah, there's a hole in their game with that, and I understand, right? Drafting a center and getting a center ready and up to speed for a Super Bowl contender is tough unless they're really elite. I don't know what they think about Bo Limmer. But they're not obviously overwhelmed by Bo Limmer. I made that argument over and over again. You guys heard it. I just thought Bo Limmer, we don't know what his upside is. We don't know where his ceiling is. We've seen the best of Coleman Shelton. And again, I go back to the Bears couldn't wait to get him out of town. So yeah, there is a hole in the game there, Bill. Absolutely. Tim Burns, Rams 38, 49ers 28. Mr. Burns, great to have you. Hope you're feeling better. Mr. Burns, I have to ask you this. How on earth do you see the 49ers scoring 28 points on the Rams unless you see the Rams special teams or Matthew Stafford getting pick sixed or a scoop and score? How do you see the 49ers putting 28 points on the Rams? Unless it's 38-14 in the final 5 minutes or something? Is that what you see? Because I don't see it. I see if the 49ers do win this game, it's going to be 20-17. It's going to be 17-13. It's going to be a slog. But I just don't see them scoring 20. If they score 28 points on the Rams after, the Rams had to gift wrap everything to the Eagles to get them to score 33, after they held back the Colts, I don't see the 49ers, this 49er unit scoring 28 points on the Rams. But if you show me something, I trust you. USA expat. I 100% agree with you on that 45-0 score. Wouldn't it be a joy just once, right? Brian Smith, don't see San Francisco putting up 28 unless they're deep. Whoa, Brian Smith, did you write that while I was speaking? USA expat. Players are probably still PO'd about the Eagles game and will take it out on the Niners. Okay, on the Ninnies. USA expat, I'm all with you on that. Nothing like being a little bit angry, chip on the shoulder. Rams win. Thank you, Rams win, for coming back, being with us. It's Jordan Whittington's birthday. Let's see him break out tomorrow. I hope so. That's the secondary to do it against. Tim Burns, Avila has to produce this season. Give us something. He has to. He really has to, because next year's contract year and then the Rams going into the 2026 draft have to look at an interior offensive lineman in the top 100. They have to. Whatever. We know they have to. Let's see, ESG. I don't want to hear the 49ers fans saying we only lost by this much and we were all injured. My favorite thing is you lost, right? You lost, right? Well, people can say that, but, before then they'll say, oh, next man up, right? I hate that next man up. It's so cliched, so to speak. It might be true, but it's so cliched. My thing is what I want to say to the 49er fan when is the line that the demon or the devil possessing Reagan in The Exorcist said to the priest when he says, how long are you going to stay in Reagan? And the entity says, till she rots and lies screaming and stinking in the earth. And that's my feeling about the 49ers, right? I don't care how I beat them. I just want to make sure I leave them rotting and stinking in the earth. There you go. Not much there, right? Not much there. Paul M. Purdy does not worry me. Niners backup quarterback might be a problem. Preach right there. We've seen Purdy. I was hoping Purdy would play, and I've been torched. Now, these were better 49er teams, but as a Ram fan, we've been torched by Kyle Shanahan backups, and that makes me a little bit nervous. Tim Burns, is Ferguson even a Rams player at this point? Wasted pick for the Stafford window if he isn't getting targets. Well, we're going to find out. I don't know if he's a wasted pick just yet, but he does need to get on the field. I want to see his butt on the field. Brian Smith, ESG, the usual Niner fan. Excuses. ESG, expected, Brian. Brian Smith, Mac Jones is starting tomorrow. Yep, 100%. Okay. I'd rather see screen pass Purdy tomorrow. Yeah, me too. Steve Ramirez, I want it over by halftime so I could watch Northview's game in peace. Okay. I hope you get that wish, Steve. I really do. Ron Reese, thank you for clicking in. Ron Reese from El Monte. All right. Into the Santa Fe Trail. If it's a blowout by the Rams, we should pull Stafford and put in Jimmy. Amen. Right? Amen. Some of those things there, this is one of the things, my pet peeve. He's got a blind spot when it comes to Coleman Shelton. The franchise has some kind of affinity for Troy Reader. All right. He's playing well in special teams. And then in blowout games, when we're getting smoked, what was that game against Cardinals last year? 42-10 in week 2. I don't want to see Stafford. If the Rams are losing by some bolt of lightning, right, that somehow they're losing 42-10 in the fourth quarter to the Niners, I do not want to see Matthew Stafford in the game, right? I don't want to see a starter that you can pull in the game. Get him out. You're right. I'm right there with you, Ron Reese. ESG, Pastor Joe, you mean 30-13 winning by 17, not scoring 17. Okay, if you say so, I'm down. Down with the get down. Bill, who the best 49ers against the Rams besides Roger Craig? Who was the best 49er against the Rams? Joe Montana. Yeah. Jerry Rice. Yeah. Always seemed to find a way. And then there was that tight end, Brent Jones. I hated Brent Jones, but he always seemed to make a play. You couldn't get to Montana. And he was so quick getting that ball out, dumping it off to Rathman or Craig and stuff. I was in the end zone in that game in Anaheim back in '88 when Roger Craig broke off that run where he not only broke 11 tackles from every player, it seemed like he ran through every player on the Rams bench and got to the end zone. He was running right at me in that game. You hated it, but what can you say? And then, of course, John Taylor. Good call there, Brian Smith. Unfortunately, I was watching that game on TV. That one, the Rams had a shot because that's the year the Rams ended up going to the NFC Championship game and had a shot, and they went to Candlestick. And that was really the end of the first version of the Los Angeles Rams, because after that, that's when everything went downhill and led the road to St. Louis. All right. Around the NFL and other places, do a reminder here. I'm Joe Terosian, a sports writer for 21 years, one of the founding guys at Mid-Valley Sports. I don't work for them anymore. I just occasionally contribute and help with content. Tim Burns has great columns there, NFL notes and numbers, and reminds me, we've got to post that. And so you can check us out there. Also, we wouldn't be on the air without our sponsor, Kistler Law. So thank you to Kistler Law. If you have any questions, an auto injury or anything, check them out. They are the best in the business. And also, I write books. My books are on Amazon. Be sure to check those out. Every time you buy a book, it helps me buy shoes and pay bills and everything, because my day job is I pastor a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene. And we're right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, and of course, BurbankFaithVirtual.com and all across social media. I would say check us out on our Spotify account and iHeart account. Right now, that we've suspended posting there because there have been some technical issues we're still working out. And we have no traction there, none. It's been 3 years. We've gained zero traction there. I don't know if it's a case of just we're buried in the system, or just people go to YouTube, because we've obviously done here on YouTube. All right, let's keep on rolling here. Let's look at around the NFL by looking at it through the lens of the Week 5 schedule. Ray Wersching. Hey, tell me the team Ray Wersching was on before the 49ers, and you'll rise in my esteem. Does anyone know without looking can tell me right now who Ray Wersching kicked for? Okay, all right. October the 2nd, Rams 49ers. I think we've called that one. We know what we want, but we also know what we're going to get. Vikings at the Browns. Cleveland benches Flacco to start Dylan Gabriel. And at this point, I'm thinking they're trying to break Shedeur Sanders' attitude. I think they want to humble this kid. And so they're putting everything in front of him because they know they don't want to create a beast if they make him start. And they're going to have to give him more latitude for failure if he starts. And they just don't want to hear his attitude. And I think he did this interview. I saw it on YouTube where he's just kind of mouthing words, pretending like he can't talk. I doubt very much if he has laryngitis, but he's a child kind of, and in a man's body. And I'm getting the feeling that they're going to make him walk through a mile of garbage just to get that opportunity to line up on Sundays. And if he can do that, then they'll probably feel like they've got a quarterback. If not, he's a chump who will be someplace else. But Dylan Gabriel, more mobile than Joe Flacco, and Browns defense is better. And I am sick of the Vikings. So I'm taking the Browns at home against the Vikings. I'll make it official on Friday. Texans at Ravens. Texans are an easy call there. Again, all these wins will be official on Friday. But Baltimore's Lamar Jackson, 2 to 3 weeks with a hammy. That puts him out October 12th against the Rams. They've lost Matabuke, the center, the heart of their defensive line. Ronnie Stanley is hurt. Marlon Humphrey is hurt. And wait, did you hear it? Yeah, the KBM is saying, they got to get Lamar Jackson some help. Anyway, Texans at Ravens. I do like the Texans. Dolphins at Panthers. Again, I think we're in the someone should be fired zone. If it's not McDaniel, then I think you need to take a good look at the Panthers, because a 1-4 start is not showing progress. Raiders at Colts. Rams did indeed drive Xavier Howard into retirement. Raiders left tackle Colton Miller has hairline ankle fracture. I think the smart bet here is the Colts. Giants at Saints. G-Men throwing darts. I think they win this game. Saints have played hard this year, but I think the G-Men are going to be motivated. Jackson Dart, the Ole Miss guy coming back in the vicinity, I think he's going to do well. Cowboys at Jets. Right now, I'm leaning Jets. I think Dallas may be too thrilled with their tie/victory over Green Bay on Sunday night. So I am leaning Jets right now. I want to see if they can come off their emotional high of the Cowboys before I pick them. Broncos at Eagles. Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter battling injuries. Receivers battling with their egos. Some people coming to terms that Jalen Hurts is not a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback, a really good quarterback, but not great, not elite. And an implosion feels like it's due. Maybe it won't happen against the Broncos, but I would say the Broncos are a team that can do it. I think they're young enough to know what they don't know. And I think sooner or later, when this piñata or this balloon bursts with the Eagles, they're going to go into a 3 or 4 week tailspin. I think they'll ride it, but I think they're cruising for a serious bruising. Titans at Cardinals, of course, you got to go Cardinals, but my question there is, when will Kyler Murray have a breakout game? And then Buccaneers at Seahawks. Tampa's banged up, but they could still possibly deliver the Rams a solid. Seattle signs Myles Gaskin to their practice squad. Myles Gaskin continues to make the circuit around the NFL. Lions at Bengals. I like Detroit. DJ Reed on the IR, but Aleem McNeil returning soon. Taxkins at Chargers. Is anybody healthy with the Bolts? And the Washington Taxkins signed Robbie Chosen. I think Harbaugh got hit with a hard dose of Spanos karma this week. So a lot of stuff happening there. Let's see here. USA Expat. I was at that game too. I was in there in 81 when Montana nickeled and dimed us to death to kick the winning field goal. Wow. I didn't see that one. Brian Smith has Mel Owens picked his woman on the ballot. I didn't get a chance to talk about that. I've been meaning to talk about Mel Owens. That is just so random that he ends up on The Bachelor, right? Let's see. Ray Wershing. Ray was a Charger. There you go, Brian Smith. USA Expat. Had to get on a plane full of Niner fans for a long ride home. Bad memory. Okay. Brian Smith, a Downey kid. Ray Wershing's from Downey? I did not know that. Bill, I am guessing that I say Ray Wershing, Bears or Saints. He made dough with the Chargers. Maybe he was in camp with the Saints or Bears at one point. But by the time he got to Frisco, he was a journeyman kicker. He was just another John Leipold, right? Just another Horst Mullman. And then he got to Frisco. Remember, he was the first guy that you saw that he looked at the hash marks, right? He didn't even look up at the goalpost. He kept his head down, right? He had a really nice run there with Frisco. Picked up a lot of rings. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know what this ring is, I won my fantasy league last year, so I like to keep it handy so I can feel good about myself. Tim Burns, why I give them 28. 6 of the last 9 games versus the 49ers, they scored 24 or more. Niners always get random chunk scores on us. I do tend to go higher scores. Okay, I get you. It was 12-6 last Thursday night at the end of last year, right? So that's what I said. ESG, Hurts went 0 for 8 in the second half versus Tampa. That'll tick anybody off. Ron Reese, I hope Tutu does good tomorrow, so Travis Rogers eats his words about him. Now, let me ask you this. What if Forbes gets a pick 6 and Tutu scores another touchdown? Who does the KBM media go after? Who's the next guy, right? When you look at the Rams roster, who's the next guy that the media is going to go after to be their scapegoat? Because they're always going to need a scapegoat. Let's just say Atwell scores 2 touchdowns. Forbes has a pick 6. They can't say anything about him. Who do they go after? Does it go back to Colby Parkinson, right? Is it Colby Parkinson? Is it Warren McClendon if he gives up a sack, right? Who do they go after? I'm just curious because there's always got to be somebody to go after. And I'm just looking at the Rams roster here, and there's not a lot of options there. Hey, one thing I'll ask you guys, because I haven't seen anything. Anyone have an update on Keir Thomas? I'm curious about Keir Thomas when he gets healthy, what that means for Nick Hampton. Let's see. USA Expat. Cardi. My favorite Rams kicker is Tom Dempsey. Are you serious, Bill? Really? My favorite Rams kicker was Wilkins or Lansford, right? Both those guys are the ones I really liked. Paul M., do you remember when the Rams traded Hacksaw to the Niners? I'm still bitter over that one. I think that was a case of the Rams let go of Jack Reynolds. I don't know if that was a trade for Jack Reynolds. Let me can I go to my Rampedia here real quick, guys? Let me move some things around. Talk amongst yourselves. Tutu Atwell or Jordan Whittington, who do you want in the fourth quarter catching the ball? Let me see here. Jack Reynolds. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. I think what the Rams did is they released him, and then he signed with the 49ers. Let's see. He turns 78 this year. Let's see. Next one. Jack Reynolds. Nope. Jack Reynolds. Nope. Jack Reynolds. Jack Reynolds. I think it was a case of him getting released and signing with the 49ers. Remember, he had a bunch of contract issues with the Rams back in 76. And I think after 11 years, they thought probably he was slowing down. This was post-Klosterman. And he went to the 49ers. Remember, the Rams did a lot of favors to the 49ers, right? They set up trades that gave them Charles Haley and Steve Wallace and Jack Reynolds and Wendell Tyler and Bryant Young. Rams should have a name and a mention in the 49ers Ring of Honor. If Frisco really knew how to troll somebody, they would troll the Rams with that one. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. You guys had Wendell Tyler in that Niner uniform. Wendell Tyler was one of my favorite Rams of all time. I loved Wendell Tyler. I really, and I got a picture of me and Wendell Tyler. I was covering a game, and I said, "Hey, Wendell Tyler." And this wasn't when he was well after he was playing. He was watching his son play. I said, "Can I take a picture?" And he goes, "Man, come on, stand over here with me." And he took the picture with me. Let's see. Bryce Wilkins and GTL were the great kickers. Greg the Leg were the great kickers. Lansford too. Lansford had money kicks, man. A lot of money kicks. I got to interview Lansford. He was really interesting to speak to. Michael Negretti, hola, Pastor Joe. Your introduction with the ball slipping out of your hands was cold-hearted, but I loved it. Thank you for somebody picking up on that. My intention was to be cold. My intention was to really make, Colt fans and Adonai Mitchell feel bad. Again, that would have been his first touchdown in the NFL, right? And I'm sure he'd been thinking about it. And in the end, he just he spit the bit. He spit the bit. All right, let me finish this real quick here. Sunday night, Patriots at the Bills. Everything says take the Bills, and I haven't made this official yet, but someone is going to get the Bills, right? The Bills aren't going to go 17-0. Someone's going to get them. And, they kind of screwed around a little too long with the Saints last Sunday. I don't know what they were thinking. Saints are playing hard for Kellen Clemens, but that was really some ridiculous. That was ridiculous that it was 31-19, that it was that close, that late. Could the Patriots be the team that gets the Bills? Vrabel is a great coach. I think Vrabel's a really good coach, and you just have to wonder if the Patriots go into Orchard Park. Is that where it's at? I keep wanting to say Rich Stadium. If they go into Orchard Park and they knock off the 4-0 Bills, boy, everyone is going to be jumping on that Patriot bandwagon, right? Everyone's going to go crazy. And then, of course, Monday night, we got October the 6th. We got Chiefs at Jaguars. What an opportunity for the Jags, right? If the Jags want to make a statement, if the Jags want to say, hey, man, we're here, we're back. We went into Frisco. We've won some close games, but they're not winning pretty. They're winning ugly, which in one sense isn't bad, but in the other sense, it kind of tells me when you play a well-disciplined team, you could get your butt kicked. And I'm not anti-Chiefs, but I'm really rooting for the Chiefs here. I want the Jaguars destroyed and dispirited when they go to London to play the Rams in what is it? What week is that? Let me see here. Can I look at my schedule real quick here? When they go to play the Rams on November 2nd. Yeah. Okay. That's a little bit down the road. No, that's October 19th. I want them a little bit dispirited, right? I want them down. I want them struggling. Don't want anyone hurt, but Rams, after they play in Baltimore, they have to go to London to play the Jaguars, one of those ridiculous overseas games that's proof the NFL does not care about its players or its fans. I saw the whole argument about Bad Bunny. I don't know who Bad Bunny is. I never watched the Super Bowl halftime show. It's just not worth watching. It's never been worth watching. Even when they're bringing it out Aerosmith or the Stones, it's like, gosh, these dudes are so old. And it just shows you how bad music is these days. It's really flash over substance. So I'm just not interested. And I understand I come from another generation. So I didn't care if they had Bad Bunny. But when you find out what Bad Bunny was like, it's just another case of the NFL with its stupid rules, its stupid social justice stuff. They're just sticking it to their fan base. And I think they've gone the full Dylan Mulvaney route. They've gone the Bud Light route. And I don't know if it's the NFL itself, but it's the people that they're listening to, the younger ad and marketing people they hire, who they refuse to do their own homework. So they trust these people and they continually embarrass themselves. I guarantee you, if there was another league, Elon Musk, Bezos, somebody go out there, start a billionaires league, call it the Billionaire Football League, the BFL, and start it, and not as a spring complimentary league to the NFL. Start it as your own NFL, your own professional league franchise. And you know what? The NFL will start closing these loops and shutting down this garbage that they're doing. But they have no competition right now, so they can shove, I guess, this Bad Bunny dude. This sounds really stupid, but they could shove this dude right at you. So, they're in trouble there, the NFL. Let me keep looking at this, guys. Sorry about that. I took my eyes off of that. Thank you, Steve. Reynolds was released and signed by the Niners. Thank you. Brian Smith. Sam Sloman was the worst Rams kicker. Yeah, he wasn't very good, and he wasn't around very long. USA Expat. Do you remember how the LA Riders all said that Wendell Tyler carried the ball like a loaf of bread? Yeah, he had some fumbling issues early in his career, but in the back half, those things were gone. Rams don't go to the Super Bowl in '79 without him. And that guy got the snot beat out of him in Super Bowl 14, and he kept coming back for more. I loved Wendell Tyler, one of my all-time favorite Rams, absolutely. And he was kind of a breath of fresh air. Not that you hated McCutchen, but you never got the home run with McCutchen. With Wendell, you did. Tim Burns, I want Tutu to get 1 or 2 long plays a game and trade him for a pick at that deadline. That 88 bumped his value. I agree. Right now, he's gone from a 7th and a 6th to borderline 5th. If he can catch a couple of scores, maybe we can get a 3rd for him, right? And I like Tutu, but if you're not going to use him, let's use him for something. Let's see. Pastor Joe read that the Rams should trade for Richardson from Indy. What do you think? Not right now. I don't think there's any rush to. If they want to dump him in the street for a 4th or a 5th, okay, I'll take a flyer on him. But I think, again, the Rams might have blind spots when it comes to centers and on the offensive line sometimes. They don't have a blind spot at quarterback. And I would trust that the Rams, if they had interest, they would never overpay him at all. So, let's see. Does anybody in the football with a suitcase handle on it for Wendell Tyler? Yeah, really funny, Brian. There you go. ESG. I thought Bad Bunny was a playmate. Maybe he was. I don't know. I don't know whose playmate. Brian Smith. I'd be shocked if Bad Bunny sticks for the Super Bowl show. Steven Rath. I like Frank Corral mainly because of UCLA ties. Yeah, he had a couple of big kicks, but I think his first 2 years were his best, and then he really faded. I think double duty took a toll on him because he was the Rams kicker and punter in 80 and 81. Let's see. Jose R. Thank you, Jose R., for joining us. Can't cut his visa. She is from Puerto Rico, and hopefully we can bring back Ice Cube. There you go. Let's see. Michael Negretti, if McVay is such a genius, why are you running your 37-year-old quarterback with a bad back for a first down? I think that kind of a demonstration, I think it is that Stafford's back is okay. However, Stafford needs to be better at running that sneak. That one that he didn't get it on, if you look at it, I was all set to blame Coleman Shelton, but he actually pushed straight ahead, and Stafford, I think, closed his eyes, went the wrong direction. But by and large, you don't want him running behind Coleman Shelton. I just don't want him running behind Coleman Shelton at all. And I wouldn't run him if I didn't have to. Let's see. Tim Burns. Diddy got to Bad Bunny. The humiliation ritual is the dress and pigtails. Oh, Diddy got to Bad Bunny. It's a humiliation ritual. Strange choice for sure. Is there anything you would do? I mean, is there limits for any of us that say, no, I'm just not doing that. I'm not doing that. I went to lunch one time. It's before I was married with this girl. She was blonde. She was kind of cute. And we went to Marie Callender's. I don't know if you know out of state, Marie Callender's it's a pie place, coffee. It's a decent little restaurant and stuff, chain. I don't think it's around anymore. And she wanted me to order for her. And I said, well, we're not at a nice restaurant. This isn't like a really big time date. We met each other for lunch and she wanted me to order for her. And she said, some guys, my other boy would order for me. And I said, well, I'm not ordering for you. And then she put out her hand for me to kiss her hand, take it and kiss it. And I slapped it away. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And some people thought, you're crazy. And I said, no, man, I don't want to make out that bad. There's no way. I ain't going to do that. There's just certain things I'm not going to do. And even if it meant RamView going nuclear and me making $1 billion, I ain't going to put on a dress or do anything stupid. It's like, why would anyone sell their soul for that kind of stuff? But apparently people do. And so, yeah, that I think I'm starting to believe more and more in that humiliation ritual. I really am. Paul M. Wendell Tyler, 26, was awesome. Do you remember the Saints game when he reversed his run and scored a touchdown at the goal line? Was that against the Saints? I know which play you're talking about. I forgot, but he made some spectacular plays. I also remember in a 21-0 win, he threw up some chili dogs. He had some chili dogs at halftime, them up on the sideline. You guys remember that story? Let's see. Steve Ramirez. I'm sorry. Brian Smith, Michael, because Stafford isn't a puss. Just a guess. Okay. All right. Steve Ramirez, did you notice Stafford ran faster in celebrating Tutu's TD than when he scrambled? Hey, man, everyone lay off Stafford. He's athletic enough, right? He's in. You got 12 miles of Detroit, 12 years of Detroit road on you. That guy, no one talks trash about Matthew Stafford on RamView. If anyone does, it's going to be me after he throws 4 picks. But anyway, I digress. Steve Ramirez, ordering for the date is a classy move. I'm not going to order for a date at Marie Callender's. Marie Callender's. I understand what Damone did, but Damone also did some other things pretty nefarious there. Don't trust your girlfriend around him. Michael Negretti, Brian Smith Brian Smith wouldn't run Stafford because I don't want him getting hurt. We need him for the rest of the year. Amen. Tim Burns, can you imagine Lyle Alzado and John Matuzak dealing with this LGBTQ stuff, the pink on uniforms and stuff? I agree. Michael Negretti, buffering. Am I buffering? I'm sorry if I'm buffering. Maybe because I've gone too long. I'll push this a couple more minutes, and then we'll see where we're at. Are we cool, guys? Somebody let me know, and we'll go from there. Not losing anybody? Someone type in, say, we're cool. But if we're buffering, I will wind this show down. And we got in the full show. All right. I think we're good. We're at the 48-minute mark. All right. Maybe I'll bail now. Get out while the corpse is looking good. Go Rams. I will be doing a Rams review, RamView wrap-up tomorrow night, and go from there. So my score is 17-13 Rams. We are cool. Okay. I'll go one more minute, guys. I will. You guys got something you want to talk about? We blew through all the info stuff. I'm looking at this date in Rams history. Rams lose Vince Ferragamo for the season in 84. Remember, he got off to a bad start in 84. I think he had a bad hand, bad finger, got hurt, and missed the rest of the season. Jeff Kemp took over. I think the Rams went 10-6, 9-7, got to the playoffs, lost that playoff game to the Giants at home. And then on this date in 1990, the Rams signed Marcus Dupree after a tryout. Nothing sadder than the story of Marcus Dupree, right? Yeah, that was he leaves Oklahoma. What does he go to Southern Miss, and then ends up has part of a season or a full season with the New Orleans Breakers of the USFL. Then tears up his knee. I think he ends up driving a truck eventually, but when he was with the Rams in 90 and 91. I think it was the last 2 years that Robinson was there, and he did some spot mop-up duty. Of course, all of his explosiveness was gone, but he was big, physical. He is a guy. Marcus Dupree is somebody that could have been one of the all-time best, I think, because he had all the gifts. Paul M., Rams 27-20. Manuel Vasquez, Rams 31-17. Brian Smith, 2017 tomorrow. There we go. And it's time for Dodger baseball. All right. Thank you for bagging on my Mets. Everyone's had a good time talking trash about the Mets. God bless, guys. I will let you go. We will see you at some point after the Rams beat the 49ers 17-13. A Fred Warner injury tomorrow would minimize his cheap shots. There you go. All right, guys. God bless. Take care. We'll see you soon.